My mom's carefully curated Facebook life shattered, each glossy family photo unraveling with the single post she never intended to reveal. I can't do this anymore. Instantly, her facade crumbled, exposing the fractures beneath our seemingly perfect lives for everyone, and me, to finally see. Staring at my mom's Facebook page, the screen's glare felt as cold as the deception it illuminated. Post after post, a relentless parade of feigned happiness, perfectly curated moments of family bliss, smiles that couldn't have been more fraudulent. Each caption twisted our life into an inspiring tale of adversity overcome, the kind that tugged at hearts and loosened purse strings. My role in her story, trapped as the wayward child she nobly rescued, was designed to elicit sympathy, drive generous donations. But beneath this mask lay the stark reality, a web spun from lies and manipulation. Anger simmered beneath my skin, a heat I could feel in every breath. I was caught between disbelief and a fierce determination, a taste of rebellion settling at the back of my throat. I had to uncover the truth, lay bare everything she hid, no matter the consequences. My room is cocooned in early evening shadows, the kind that stretch and crawl, seeking to envelop everything they touch. The only light comes from my laptop screen, a rectangular glow reflecting off my glasses, casting my face into stark relief. It's ironic that this little machine is about to ignite such a vast inferno. My heart pounds in its cage, tempestuous, as I open Facebook. The post is there, taunting and pristine, like a monument to deceit. Her words dance before me, dripping with falsehoods that have woven themselves into the fabric of everyday life. She's smiling in her profile picture, a contorted mockery of the truth, the same smile that once greeted me at our Sunday brunches, wrapped in layers of illusion. The bitter sting of betrayal is still fresh, gnawing at my gut, twisting, contorting until it feels like something's being forcibly pulled out. I take a deep breath, the air thick, laden with memories too heavy to bear. My fingers move over the keys, mechanical yet purposeful, powered by something primal. Each word I type adds weight to the collective sigh that is about to erupt from my soul. My response isn't long, but it's pointed, sharp as the knife I feel turning in my back. It's the truth, pure and simple, and it sears my fingertips as I transfer it from thought to digital permanence. The picture on my phone. I stare at it. It's from that unfiltered day, the one where the sky seemed unnaturally bright, unyielding and exposing the ugliness that had been festering just beneath the surface. Her lies, unraveling publicly, like a dress caught on a nail, fabric tearing with every step, every desperate attempt to move forward. In my mind, I see it all again, the pointed fingers, whispers swirling faster than a whirlpool, accusations flying, her face blanching with every revelation. I attach the image, pressing it into my post like sealing a letter of confession. The room feels smaller, tighter. My breathing is shallow, a whisper caught in the throat of an impending storm. Fear prickles at the back of my neck, a creeping sensation that whispers of repercussions, of backlash, of chaos that I am about to set free. With my trembling finger hovering over post, I feel my heart clamoring against my ribcage, desperate to escape the inevitability of my decision. It's not just fear that's making my hand tremble, but a resoluteness that's been simmering for far too long. The truth doesn't care for the fallout. It demands to be seen, to stretch its limbs in daylight, to breathe after a lifetime shrouded in deceit. In the moment before action turns into consequence, I close my eyes, just for a second. The anticipatory buzz in my veins tells me there's no turning back. And then, as if stepping off an unseeable edge, I press the button. A small sound, a soft exhale of air from my laptop, and everything changes. The soft, luminescent glow of the computer screen was the only light in the room. I sat there, rooted to the spot like a puppet whose strings had been cut, powerless against the onslaught of memories crashing over me. The house was silent, save for the distant hum of traffic outside the window, the mute witness to the labyrinth of lies woven into our lives. I could still see her, perfectly poised in front of the camera, tears glistening like brittle jewels in her eyes. We were a tapestry of tragedies, expertly crafted, pieced together from the scraps of other people's sorrows, never our own. Hospital visits that existed only in whispered embellishments, paths I never walked, yet recounted with the urgency of truth. I can hear her voice, the perfect quiver that plunged deep into her audience's gullible hearts, recounting how the bills stacked high, higher than her resolve, supposedly. But those bills were ghost paper, never born, never paid. Part of me always wanted to believe she cared enough to feel even a hint of guilt, to be haunted by the phantoms she conjured so casually. Frustration broiled underneath my skin, a slow simmer which sometimes rose to a scalding boil. I imagined her stories disconnecting me from the fabric of reality and desperately wanted to scream into the void that this wasn't my life. These were ghost stories, the authorship claimed by someone who never cherished my unraveling. There was a night, one of many, when I watched her sob into the lens, the camera her confessor, her confederate in deception. Her voice trembled as she painted her masterpiece of fiction, begging for help in the name of maternal desperation. And still, I sat at her side, voiceless and complicit, feeding off the only truth I could grasp, the knowledge that once the feed died, she'd be reborn, any tears remaining only hinted by the trails left on her cheeks. It was enraging, this cycle, this play that seemed eternal, and I a mere extra on her stage. Every lie tightened the choke of disbelief around my throat. I wanted to wrench free, yet I stayed, pinned by the weight of what escaping meant. Forsaking her betrayal could sever whatever thread of authenticity, thin as it was, that still tethered me to the semblance of family. In the darkness, I made a vow, but the words were unspoken, too fragile for the air just yet. But repeat them I would, quietly, while watching the pixels dance in front of me. Repeat them until they solidified into something more than just a glint in the back of my mind. I rubbed my eyes, hollow with fatigue, longing for just one honest connection. Someone who knew me, the real me, beyond the lines she scripted. That yearning was a constant presence, a flicker of hope stubbornly alive in the pit of despair. And then, the weight of it crushed me again, and I knew the rest of the night would pass with nothing more than that screen's flickering company and the residue of my mother's constructed tears. The pings come first, electronic chimes slicing the silence of my room like a roomful of dropped pins. Each one a tiny burst of sound, a reminder that I've opened Pandora's box, and there's no closing it now. My phone, now hot in my sweaty palm, buzzes with a relentless vigilance, the screen lighting up with waves of notifications, as if mocking me with its urgency. I knew this would happen, I just didn't expect it to feel so visceral, so immediate. The post is out there, raw and undeniable, and now my world is caught in the throes of its own exhale, my breath stuck somewhere between my throat and the depths of this consequence. The messages surge in, mixing like oil and water, some overflow with support, the balm of validation I'd longed for, voices rising to acknowledge my truth. But others sting like salt in fresh wounds. I scroll slowly, my thumb moving almost of its own accord down the endless scroll of reactions. About time someone spoke up, one message reads, and for a moment, the knot in my chest loosens just slightly. But it's followed by another. You're just bitter. This is pathetic. And there it is, the familiar bile of doubt, simmering back to life. I feel it crawl up my spine, tightening like a noose with every judgment spat out in the stark light of the phone screen. Every word is a high-stakes gamble of trust, belief, and disbelief. I'm on display, a spectacle whose very human mess has become public property. The war wages fiercely within me as images of distant friends and forgotten acquaintances collide in my mind, their faces blurring as I try to predict which camp they'll fall into, supporters or dissenters. Each ping and buzz is a stab of adrenaline, leaving me breathless at the digital melee unfolding before my eyes. It's an onslaught, a never-ending tide of opinions and judgments I'd brought down upon myself. And amidst it all, there's her presence, the intangible reality of her version of the story hanging over everything, rallying her own legion against me. Even those who haven't sent a message burn brightly in my mind, their silence a stark reminder of uncertain allegiances. A sudden anger flares within me, a heat that twists with the chill of doubt. How can they not see it? How can they still stand behind the facade of her crafted narrative? But deep down, the pricking needles of immediate regret begin to take root. The confrontation isn't confined to just these pixels. It will spill into my life, my relationships, my work. The gravity of my actions, of exposing the truth and inviting the chaos that follows, wraps itself tightly around me. Yet, even in this chaotic storm, there's an odd clarity, an understanding that what's done is done. I stare at the glowing screen, my world vibrating in the palms of my hands, knowing I have no choice now but to weather this storm. How could you? She spat, her voice a jagged edge of betrayal and disbelief. Each word was like a missile flung with precision, aimed straight for my heart. Her anger filled the space between us, a force impossible to ignore. Ironically, as those words left her lips, I couldn't help but feel the bitter sting of twisted irony. The betrayal she accused me of was hers all along. The kitchen felt like a battleground. The fading evening light cast long shadows across the table, accentuating every line of fury etched into her face. I stood there, rooted, like a soldier caught in the no-man's land of an emotional war. My breath came in shallow bursts. Each inhale burned with the effort of holding back a tide of emotions I couldn't quite name. Her eyes flashed with something wild, something raw and uncontained. "You're just like your father," she continued, and this time it wasn't just anger but a bleak, soul-scorching disappointment that dripped from her words. That comparison, always my sword to swallow, was twisted deeper now. I clenched my fists at my sides, nails digging crescent moons into my palms, grounding myself in the searing pain. I couldn't fall apart, not like this, not now. Not when the foundation of my reality was crumbling beneath us with each syllable of her fury. "You've lied," she pressed on, her voice rising as if volume could force reality to bend to her will. "This family, everything we've built, you've ruined it." My lips parted, but the air felt too thick, my breathing too shallow to form any defense that could cut through her barrage. Silence wrapped around us, a smothering blanket holding us both in its suffocating grasp. I wanted to scream, to hurl back my truth, the hidden fractures beneath her polished surface that mirrored her own treachery. Yet every retort lay frozen in the icy grip of fear. Fear of unraveling everything, of truth too jagged to speak aloud. I steadied myself, gaze locked with hers. In the chaos of her accusations, there was a moment where our eyes met and I saw it. The fear beneath her anger, raw and trembling. It was a fleeting reflection of the storm brewing within me. A path opened up then, lined with unresolved pain and buried resentment. Beneath her fury, there was the truth neither of us dared name. I took a step forward, the floor creaking underfoot as if the house itself was straining to bear the weight of our history. I didn't ruin this. I finally managed, my voice barely more than a whisper, yet more powerful in its restraint. I didn't betray us. There it was, laid bare between us, a truth that could no longer be avoided. The tension crackled in the air, and in that fragile, fractured silence, I knew this was far from over. But in the echo of my words rested the power to begin anew, whatever that might mean. Sitting amidst the wreckage, the silence is deafening, each heartbeat a lonely echo in a house that once pretended at happiness. Sunlight pierces through the blinds, casting harsh lines on the living room floor, a pattern of static confinement. My hands rest on my knees, fingers twitching with the remnants of adrenaline. I can't shake the feeling that I'm watching everything from outside my body, detached and weightless, while reality pulls in its heavy, familiar gravity. In the corner, the once lively photo wall has taken on a ghostly hue. Images of past smiles and summer vacations now like specters of innocence. I guess I never saw them for what they were. Or maybe I did. I just chose not to acknowledge it. The denial's easier until it's not. Until truth decides it's time for an eruption, and you're left clawing through the rubble, looking for anything worth salvaging. The air feels thick in my throat, and I close my eyes, trying to drown in a memory where laughter still sounded genuine here. It's futile. The memories are too familiar. They slip through my fingers like fine sand, leaving only the grit of consequences behind. I called them all liars. I might have roared it, or maybe it was just a whisper. It doesn't matter. What's left of pride lies heavy in the back of my mind. Like stale smoke I'm forced to breathe in. I can't tell what stings more, the choking remnants of what was said, or the resounding absence of words that followed. Slowly, I rise from the chair, my knees cracking in the sudden stillness, and step over to the kitchen. The parquet floor creaks with the weight of stories untold, lingering shadow-like at my feet. I fill a glass with water, watching it swirl to the rim as if seeking an escape of its own. My throat clenches as I drink, a momentary relief in the midst of chaos. Looking around feels like navigating a stranger's home, the familiar void of companionship now glaringly present. I pluck a pen from the counter, its blue ink a stark reminder of the letters I never wrote. Apologies that would taste bitter on the tongue. Instead, I scribble idle circles on a crumpled receipt, tracing an endless loop of self-reflection and guilt. I always thought telling the truth would set me free. Irony, how it shackles just the same, blending freedom and regret into an indistinguishable mass. The walls seem to close in, a silent testimony to the life that was and isn't anymore, a prelude to a reality that scares me as much as it comforts. I yearn for courage I'm still unsure I possess. I glance towards the hallway, a door left ajar in passage or escape. With a breath that trembles on the cusp of doubt and determination, I make my way towards it, the echo of my footsteps accompanying me, reminding me that even among ruins, I must walk my own path. It's the only thing left to do. It was one of those nights, shrouded in the kind of darkness that seemed to seep into my bones, when I found myself hunched over the cold light of my computer screen. The world felt like it was spiraling into a pit, each twist pulling me further away from anything solid. I can't remember what drove me to check my inbox again. Maybe a masochistic hope that I'd somehow misinterpret the vitriol pouring in. But when the first subject line caught my eye, everything shifted. The message opened with a simple, "I believe you." Those 3 words unfurled something tight within me. I sat there, rereading them, trying to absorb their warmth, like a sunbeam in an otherwise gray world. As I scrolled down, more messages came into view, voices of people I'd never met reaching out through the ether, each one a strange, unexpected tapestry of empathy woven into the fiber of their words. "Your courage is inspiring," one wrote. "Don't let them define you," said another. Their statements turned into gentle lifebuoys, bobbing in the tumultuous sea I was drowning in, guiding my handhold back to surface. I was beginning to realize how isolated I had made my own little world, redefining it under the crushing weight of shame and fear. Yet, here they were, strangers peeling back those layers, inadvertently granting me glimpses into a version of myself I couldn't yet fully grasp, a person strong enough to endure this, and perhaps even find their footing. Each click, opening another message, was like adjusting a dial that gradually pulled me out of the static. It was in these digital whispers of solidarity that I found an unsettling, yet soothing reassurance. Each testimonial came with a story of adversity, overcoming shadows of their own, lighting the path with their bravery. "My brother went through something similar," one of them shared. I could almost feel the tremor in those words, yet there was a shared understanding there, thick and unyielding. It was the first time I didn't feel like a solitary martyr, bound to bear something incomprehensible and absurdly unfair alone. These were the real people who saw me, not the caricature painted by faceless critics. They didn't promise miraculous salvation, but offered the kind of affirmation I desperately needed. Their kindness a mirror reflecting a person I was just beginning to recognize. And in that quiet room, surrounded by the glow of a screen that seemed somehow softer, I felt the coaxing fingers of cautious hope take tentative root. It was a foreign, thrilling sensation. I exhaled, the sound of it unfamiliar on my lips. The harsh rage and desolation which had overshadowed my nights felt less all-consuming, more like a storm momentarily calmed by these whispers of truth. I stared at the inbox, words of encouragement like small anchors, and pondered what to say back. The idea of reaching out felt daunting, yet exhilarating. With hesitant fingers, I started to type my response, finding comfort in the conversation that lay ahead. Her voice catches me off guard, a hesitant murmur breaking the silence that has filled the room for too long. It's as if she's testing the air, unsure if her words will linger faithfully or dissolve into the tension that hangs between us. I thought, "We might talk for a bit," she says, each word carefully measured, as if afraid of overstepping invisible boundaries. I've spent years building walls too thick to let this through, yet here I am, feeling the tremor in her voice tug at something buried beneath my defenses. I stay silent, watching her from across the room. Her eyes flit nervously, catching mine briefly before they fixate somewhere safe. The air is heavy with things unsaid, and I struggle to suppress the urge to shut her out again. But there's something different this time. She seems smaller, wearier, and it's this vulnerability that gives her every word weight. Did you know your old friend's back in town? Her words are misplaced, the topic an awkward fit, yet there's an underlying plea for normalcy in the mundane topic. I almost scoff at her attempt, a humorless smirk rising unbidden. Yeah, I know. I reply, my voice carrying an edge I don't mean to sharpen, but it slips past nonetheless. She swallows, a flicker of disappointment crossing her face, and I wonder if she expected this to be easy. Her hands twist together in her lap, a nervous fidget I hadn't noticed before. I just thought it would be good for you, she continues, her voice shaded with concern that's both genuine and unfamiliar. There's a moment, a crack in the icy veneer between us, and I catch a glimpse of the woman she must wish to be, buried under layers of misunderstandings and mistakes. It stirs something akin to hope, fragile and tentative. I want to believe she's reaching out, truly reaching out, but between us lies too much history, too much weight. Maybe, I concede, the word hanging in the air, an olive branch of my own, tenuous but sincere. Her relief is palpable, a subtle easing of her posture. Her next words come softer, though they still waver. I know I haven't been what you needed, she says, pain slicing through her voice, a quiet acknowledgement of faults we've never before named aloud. I feel the familiar bitter twist, but alongside it, something warmer. I meet her gaze, a silent agreement to let this conversation inch forward. The moment lingers, stretching into something almost tender, and I find myself wondering, just for a heartbeat, if maybe this time we can untangle ourselves from what has tied us down for so long. We slip back into silence, but now it's different, charged yet somehow lighter. Not quite mended, the fissures between us remain, but there's space now, a flicker of possibility filling the room where before there had been none. With the phone powered down and face down on the table, an unexpected quiet rushes in, swelling over me like ocean waves. All around, there's the steady hum of the world still turning, the neighbors' muffled laughter through the paper-thin walls, distant traffic just beyond my apartment's thin windows, and birds chirping somewhere out of sight. I shift my gaze away from the now blank screen, the portal that once held me captive, a conduit for both connection and chaos. It's strange how empty it feels, like a limb suddenly severed, yet the buzzing notification alerts still echo phantom-like in my mind. The afternoon sun spills through the window, cutting across the floor in warm, glowing rectangles. I step into one of those golden patches, feeling the heat rise through my socks, and look out to where the city stretches its vast, indifferent arms. It feels like the universe itself is drawing a breath and pausing, waiting to see what I'll do next. Beyond these walls, life is unfolding, unfiltered, unbound by characters and face filters. Perhaps it's time I joined it. I inhaled deeply, as if the room itself were offering me a lungful of courage. My chest expands against the cage of ribs, rusty and unfamiliar, but vitalizing. Each inhalation seems to unclutter my thoughts, clearing cobwebs spun in corners where anxiety and regret have lurked too long. I detect a sliver of tension unwind from my shoulders, rippling down my spine, grounding me in the now. Turning slowly, I face the small mirror that hangs against one wall. A familiar stranger looks back. There's a determination in those eyes, though, a flicker that wasn't there before. We got this. I murmur softly to the reflection, the words almost dissolving before reaching my ears. It feels alien but soothing, this act of self-reassurance, crafting music out of silence. For the first time in what feels like forever, the prospect of stepping outside, beyond the bounds of this self-imposed prison of pixels, doesn't terrify me. Instead, it's startlingly invigorating. I grab the jacket draped over the chair, the one that's gathered dust with every choice I made to hide rather than engage. The fabric feels solid, real, a comfort. As I reach for the door, the handle is cool against my palm, a final threshold between the past and whatever future I'm willing to create. I breathe again, a final affirmation, and turn the knob. The hinges creak, but I'm already moving forward, past doubts and shadows that linger like old scars. Stepping out, the air hits me, crisp and vivid, flooding senses I'd almost lost. The street, alive with voices, offers no promises of forever, only a chance to start anew. Every footfall becomes its own form of release, and as I move further from the numbing glow of screens, the world unfolds before me, vast, unfiltered, utterly mine to reclaim. A year. It's strange how the word seems to both crawl and sprint through my memory, stretching out moments that were once unbearable, then folding them back into something manageable. The apartment feels different now, both emptier and fuller. It's like walking through a house that's unfamiliar after the furniture has finally settled. The walls echo with silence, weighted by the secrets I used to keep, now heavy with a peace I fought so hard to claim. I sit by the window, watching the world outside blur in the rain. Each droplet draws tiny, distorted paths down the glass, like the tears I've shed countless times without witness. Their trails leave traces when they're gone, and I imagine myself etched into this room in similar ways, my shape a shadow on the past. It hasn't been easy, pushing through those days, moving forward when everything tried to pull me back. A soft knock pulls me from the thought. It's Anna, my closest friend through the chaos. Her face is a blend of compassion and something else, respect, maybe. We sit, sharing the space in companionable silence until she finally speaks. You've really done it. Changed everything, she says, her voice a gentle nudge. I trace the rim of my mug with my finger. Had to. It was like breathing mud before. I couldn't live like that. The simplicity of the words hides the complexity of emotions beneath them. The struggle, the relentless urge to uncover and face the truth. Anna nods, a small smile playing at her lips. You're different now, stronger. The rain drums a soft melody against the window, and in it, I hear the echo of the past. Nights when fear wrapped around me tight, disguised as comfort. But with each revelation, I found relief, a liberation and honesty I'd only imagined before. Though the scars are many, they've become the map of a road I had the courage to walk, a testament to the truths I dared to speak. Stronger, yeah? I guess I am. I smile back, a quiet pride unfurling within me. The woman I see in the smeared reflection of the window is someone who bears her marks not as wounds, but as stories of survival. Each one, a stepping stone to this moment, to the steadiness I feel now. The rain lightens, revealing a clearer world beyond the pain, and I rise, feeling the weight of the past ease just a little more. The path ahead is unknown, yet I step into it willingly, a calm clarity guiding me forward. It's been worth it. The pain, the confrontation, the journey through darkness to find light. This new chapter isn't just about leaving what was, but embracing what could be. And with that realization, I embrace myself too, hoping the road ahead, though uncertain, is one I'm finally ready to walk.